Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Brainy Jellyfish, where I talk about science, history, warfare, and other interesting topics. On this episode, we will be exploring why Russia could never attack the US. Throughout history, naval supremacy has been extremely important when trying to win a war, especially when you are attacking a nation thousands of kilometers away from you. Although with the development of nuclear weapons, things have changed. But if we were to ignore nuclear weapons and focus on raw military strength, the battles become much clearer. Russia has a massive army with advanced technology that is on par with the US's, although their navy is highly limited. Russia's naval problems stem from Russia's lack of allies and poor geography. Despite being such a large country, Russia has very limited ocean access since most of its ports are cold water ports that freeze up during the winter. This has caused them to look for warm water ports, which is part of the reason why they annexed Crimea from Ukraine in 2014. Another weakness that Russia has is that all Russian ports are in close proximity to countries that the US has close ties with. If Russia tries to attack the US, NATO will declare war on Russia, even though half of them are scared to death of Russia. NATO also has many allies in the Middle East and East Asia who will assist NATO if war broke out. Meanwhile, Russia isn't very popular and only has a few friends. It has close ties with India and some of its previous Soviet states, such as Belarus and Kazakhstan. Besides India, these countries aren't very strong and realistically won't be much help. Russia's best bet is China, but China would most likely laugh at Russia and get back to spying on its citizens. By siding with Russia, they would be against so many powerful nations that it would be insane to even consider it. But even if they did join the war, China's navy is still small compared to the US's. But that's a video for another day. But if Russia, even with everything stacked against them, still tried to invade the US, they would need a port to invade from. The port of Russian names, and the port of are on the coast of the Black Sea, which is guarded by Turkey, so getting out of the Black Sea will be a difficult task that will slow down Russia's progress. Especially since Russia will have NATO countries such as France, Italy, and Spain protecting the Mediterranean. The port of St. Petersburg is a good outlet. However, to get to the ocean, Russian ships will have to get out of the Baltic Sea, which is guarded by even more NATO countries. If Russia ever decided to attack the US, getting out of the Mediterranean Sea and the Baltic Sea would be nearly impossible, since the US and other NATO countries will take the fight to Russia. So naval invasion by Russia will be ultimately doomed. The US even has a strong military presence on the sparsely populated eastern coast of Russia. They have good relations with Japan and South Korea, who both have formidable militaries. The US also has 3 active-duty aircraft carriers, one on the Japanese coast, one on the North Pacific Ocean, and a third one in the Persian Gulf, while the remaining 7 protect the US's coast. While Russia has one outdated, dinky little aircraft carrier that can barely travel 54 kilometers per hour. So Russia can't attack any NATO member or US ally without being furiously attacked on all sides. However, like I said earlier, we shouldn't forget that Russia is a nuclear power and is protected by that fact. Nuclear powers are virtually untouchable since attacking them could cause them to let loose a few nukes and basically destroy the Earth, which would cause a nuclear fallout that even Fallout 4 isn't ready to handle. Especially since Russia has 1,600 fully operational armed nukes that are capable of mass destruction, even though they are supposed to be disarming the nukes. They also have an impressive arsenal of powerful nuclear technology, such as the Tsar bomb. The Tsar bomb was tested in 1961 and is more than 1,500 times more powerful than the nukes dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki combined. That was nearly 50 years ago, so more powerful nukes have obviously been developed. One of them is Poseidon, which is a nuclear torpedo that has the strength of 100 megatons. That's double the strength of the Tsar bomb. If deployed, it can send a massive tsunami to its target, wreaking havoc on the inhabitants. This can easily destroy coastal cities and will be even worse than a typical tsunami, since this tsunami will be radioactive. Anyway, before we get off track, yes, Russia's navy is not equipped enough or in the position to launch a successful invasion on the states, since getting to the US successfully would be almost impossible. However, Russia is sitting in a very comfortable position with having a surplus of nukes that it doesn't feel threatened by anyone. Now that many of the world's most powerful nations have nuclear weapons, military threats and ultimatums don't have as much of an effect as they did prior to when nuclear weapons were more commonplace, especially since the economic sanctions that are put on you if you even just take a small chunk of land from a neighboring country are pretty severe. Now having economic strength is much more important. I can see a future of a lot more trade wars and economic disputes and less fighting. Now this can be a good thing, since millions of lives will be potentially saved from war. Although economic ultimatums and trade wars can easily disrupt the economy of a country, especially developing countries that aren't stable enough economically and may completely depend on another country for something such as oil. A good example of this in real life is Russia and Ukraine. Russia and Ukraine have had tense relations since the collapse of the Soviet Union, but Russia provided 2/3 of Ukraine's natural gas needs in 2009. This reliance extends beyond Ukraine and to many other European countries such as Germany and Italy. Over the last decade, there have been several times where Russia completely or partially cut off gas supply lines or greatly increased the price of natural gas. This reliance on Russia is very scary for some countries, which is why they have been trying to diversify where their natural gas imports come from. It also makes countries that have this reliance much less likely to publicly speak against Russia, since Russia will gladly, without hesitation, hike their prices up or just completely cut off supply lines. I mean, it won't be the first time, and Russia might do it again. This kind of economic reliance will be seen more and more in the 21st century as more countries seek economic strength and not military strength. It will change the way wars are fought and redefine what it means to be a superpower. Thank you for watching the first episode of the Brainy Jellyfish. If you have any suggestions, feel free to comment down below on what you thought and what you'd like to see next. If you like this video, I'd really appreciate a like and a sub. For more information about my channel, or if you want to contact me, you can follow my Twitter and Instagram accounts. Thanks again for watching, and goodbye.